Hi, welcome to the Just Getting Through Life podcast with Kim
Jonathan, A.
and Jonathan. You forgot to say and.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Didn't
all
I
I heard
say
was
and?
no. All I heard was Jonathan. But whatever. All right. So let's get down to it. Today we're going to read 5 pieces of bad relationship advice exposed. Should I send you the link too?
Yeah, sure.
Can you read it too?
Uh,
There. Okay, I'm gonna go with number 1.
well, let me log in. I've never logged into Facebook on this computer.
Oh, okay. Should I text it to you or something? You can just read it from your phone.
Can you just? Yeah, I guess so. I was just gonna say send it through the Zoom chat, but
Just read it on your phone.
all right. Let me pull
Easy.
it. Let me get my phone.
So I'll start with number 1.
There you go.
Number 1, you should have sex with your partner every day. Okay. There is plenty of evidence documenting the benefits of frequent sex, including greater relationship satisfaction, lower stress, and greater happiness. This has led some people to claim that more sex is better, so couples should aim to have sex as much as possible, even every day. However, other research suggests that more sex isn't necessarily better. In a case of thousands of couples, Amy Muse and colleagues found that while people who had sex more frequently were happier, there was a limit. Having sex more than once a week didn't provide any additional happiness boost in a more than once a week? In an experiment where couples were asked to double their sexual frequency, this change had no impact on happiness, likely because these couples were already having sex about once a week to start with. What seems to matter more than sexual frequency is sexual satisfaction. People who are happy with their sex lives tend to be happier and more satisfied in their relationships. Sexual satisfaction doesn't necessarily mean frequent sex. While there is no harm in couples having more sex, deliberately trying to have sex every day, as is sometimes recommended, could backfire. Does it really make sense to have sex more than you want to as a way to improve your relationship? You might exercise more than you want to in order to improve your fitness, but that will work because it has a direct impact on your body. But your mindset goes into a sexual encounter affects how satisfying it is. So if you're having sex when you're not in the mood, the experience will not be pleasant. For example, couples trying to conceive tend to report lower sexual satisfaction because they have to schedule sex and because they start to view sex as a means to an end rather than a spontaneous expression of their feelings. Wow, do you think like I read better now? I didn't
Yeah.
really stumble.
No, you didn't. Good
Yeah,
job.
I know.
High
I
five.
feel like I'm reading like better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about that?
I feel like that's really true. Um, I don't know, but it's only true because I don't view sex as like the end all anymore. But when I used to view sex as like pretty damn important, like number 1, then the lack of frequency like pissed me off. Like it made me like if I didn't get it when I wanted it, then I would get like angry and actually like get really mad at the other person. So because I'm like, oh, I should think of sex as not that important. And this is a revelation that came with the help of my therapist, because my therapist is like, well, if you look at your other relationships, and this was before I met you, she was like, well, you always like prioritize sex. Why don't you try not doing that? Because I think you're sending out the wrong message. Because I would just sleep with guys like second date or whatever because it's important to me. I mean, I have to know right away if you could have sex or not and whether the sex is good or not. So for me, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I am giving off the wrong vibe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm giving off the wrong impression here that I am dating to find someone, not like just to hook up, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what my intention was to find someone, and I guess my therapist was like, but your actions are showing that maybe you just want to hook up. And I was like, well, you might be right, even though I don't know. I don't feel like I act like it, but who knows?
That was professional advice.
Why are you saying it in an emphasized way when you're not a professional
No,
psychologist?
No, I'm saying you should believe professional advice.
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think some I will believe in, and then just because it's professional doesn't mean that I should believe it like blindingly.
No, I didn't say blindly.
No, you said it's professional, so therefore I should trust it. So that's kind of a blinding statement. If you're like, oh, that's sound advice, and I agree with it. It makes sense that she said that. Then I would be like, okay, that's coming from a place of logic. But you're like, that's professional advice. Therefore, you should believe it. So
Well,
I
she knows
disagree
you
with
best,
that.
right?
What?
He knows you pretty well.
Not really. No.
I thought you had the same person.
What are you doing with your face?
My eye's bugging me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Because when you're talking to me and you make all those faces, I'm like, what the fuck?
This eye's like, it's sore.
Do you want to pause and like
No,
get some eye drops?
There's nothing I can do. I don't have eye drops. I don't own eye drops.
Then get some eye drops. That's how you unsore your eyes. By lubricating them, not by scratching it and making it drier or more irritated.
There's just one. The other one's fine.
Well, anyways, eye drops. Eye drops will help.
One eye.
Do you even want to do this podcast if your eyes are hurting?
No, it's fine. I'm good.
Okay. Why don't you flush your eyes out with water?
No, I'm
Flush
okay.
it.
I'll
Okay,
do it later.
anyways, what I was saying is, by saying, she's professional and you should listen, I feel like that's a blinding statement and I don't believe in that. So, anyways, moving on. Why don't you read number 2?
Okay. Men and women are so different, they might as well be from different planets. Many popular dating advice books rely on broad generalizations about gender, like males are from Mars, women
No,
are...
you're reading it completely wrong. Men are from Mars.
That's what I said.
You said male are from Mars.
No, I said men.
No, I recorded this. I can replay it for you.
All right, go ahead. Replay it.
Well, I can't right now. It has to like render. I'll replay it later. But anyways, continue.
Women are from Venus. On average, there are many areas where men and women differ. Some of these differences are quite large, like physical differences in upper body strength and height. Other differences are smaller, like differences in personality. With all these differences, especially the small ones, there is substantial overlap between men and women. Even with large differences like height, it's easy to see that some women are taller than some men. With personality and behavioral differences, there is even more overlap. So when it comes to understanding one person, your romantic partner, judging that person's actions based on their gender is a lot less helpful than trying to understand them as a person. In fact, the belief that men and women are fundamentally different have been identified by researchers as what the heck? What is that word? Lala.
It starts with an M, so why are you saying lala?
Lala. Maladaptive.
Maladaptive.
Maladaptive?
Mal means bad. Adaptive is adaptive, so it's like bad adaptive.
Yeah. Relationship belief that has a negative impact on relationships.
What do you think of number 2?
No, you tell me what you think. Because I didn't even get to answer number 1.
Well, I thought you answered it.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, go ahead and answer number 1, and then I'll answer number 2.
No, you go number 2.
No, you go number 1, and then I'll do number 2.
No.
What are you talking about? You didn't even answer number 1.
Yeah, I know I didn't, because you're like...
So go.
I'm just going to say I agree with number one.
Okay. Number two, let's see. On average, there are many areas where men and women differ. Men are so different than women. I mean, they make sense. I don't think men are really different from women because a man can have a lot of feminine traits and a woman can be really, really masculine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really case based. And if I'm like, maybe it applies to me, it applies to little children. It doesn't apply to like adults because if it's a little child, usually if the kid is rambunctious, it's because society has shaped like little boys to be more rambunctious. And girls, what they see in the media as a little girl without any personality of her own, without any without coming into herself and knowing who she is as a little girl, because she doesn't know who the hell she is. She's just a girl. A lot of media portrays little girls as like dainty, polite tea parties and all that stuff. So I think that applies to like little kids. But then little kids don't have relationships with each other. So it's not like it matters. But I don't know. I feel like when people use, oh, he's a man, he's going to be like that in a healthy way, then, and in a healthy way is when giving them slack for what they do and not really believing in it. Like if a really manly man insists on being right for some reason, and the woman, his partner is like, oh, talking to her girlfriend, she's like, oh yeah, he's aggressive, he's just really alpha, he just wants to be a man. That way is okay because she's not like getting pissed, she's just giving leeway, giving slack for him, for being aggressive or whatever because he wants to act in that certain way. But if he's like abusive and she tries to give reasons or justifications for his abuse to her, and she says the same thing, like, oh, he's just being a man, they like slap women around sometimes, then I think then that's unhealthy. And so number two, I kind of agree with, and I kind of don't really agree with it, because if you can use number two in a giving slack kind of manner, and I think that would be fine. What do you think of number two?
Well, I don't know if I agree with it, because I think that you can't really judge people by their gender based on their personality. I don't think you should give people leeway. I think that turns into excuses.
Well, you're saying you don't agree with number two, that men and women are so different that they may. Because number two, the article is saying that it's a myth. So you're not agreeing that it's a myth. You're saying that it's truth.
The physical upper body strength is true, but I don't know. I don't think. Well, yeah, you're right. It is saying that it.
This whole article is about that it's a myth. So if you disagree on number two, you're saying that number two is the truth.
Oh, no, I agree with it then.
Oh, okay. All right. So number one, your opinion was I agree, and number two, your opinion is I agree.
Yeah. Okay. No, number one.
Let's go to number. You just said you agree.
I don't agree with number one. Oh wait, yeah, no, I do agree with number one. Now I'm confused. Now everything.
Pay attention, yo. Are you sleepy? Is your eye bothering you? That's why.
Yeah, my eye's bothering me.
Well, I said we don't need to do this podcast.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's disrupting your attention.
Yeah, I know.
All right, number 3. You should be 100% focused on your partner. I strongly disagree with this one, but I'm going to read it through. Of course, you should focus on I strongly agree with this one, so I'm going to read it through. Of course, you should be focused on your partner and work on your relationship, but it is possible to focus too much on your partner. It's good for couples to spend time with other couples. In studies where couples discuss personal topics with another couple, they experience greater closeness and passion for each other compared to couples who just engage in the same type of conversation with each other. Interacting with others and sharing your relationship can strengthen your bond and remind you why you love your partner. It's also good to do things on your own and to cultivate other relationships with friends and family members, especially one person to fulfill all your expecting one person to fill all your social and emotional needs can set you up for disappointment, as I discussed in more detail in an earlier post. Life stress, poor interpersonal skills, or hold on, let me pause this for just a second. I'm recording. All right. So what was I even talking about? Oh, I was in the middle of reading this
100%.
before I was rudely interrupted.
By me? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, as I discussed in more. Oh, okay.
Focused on your
Sky
partner.
high relationship expectations can motivate you to work on having the best relationship possible, but if you lack the ability to make that happen, it will leave you disappointed. So it's not a bad idea to look at other. Hold on. Sukanta keep on messaging me. Hold on. All right. Sorry about those 2 interruptions, people. No more interruptions will happen. So it's not a bad idea to look to other areas of your life and other relationships for fulfillment rather than relying only on your partner. This is definitely a myth, I think. And you know what? I don't even think this is a myth. Like, whoever the fuck said this in the first place, like, who? Like, no logical, sane person would even suggest this to have it debunked. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a myth or something to disagree against.
That's true. That is very true. I agree with you.
Like, no one has ever advised anyone ever to 100% focus on your partner.
You're my whole life. Yes. I see you typing.
Sukanta. Well, okay, hopefully he finishes. Okay. So, I agree that this is a myth, but at the same time, I don't think this is even suggested to be a myth. But I agree that your partner is not 100%, because if you expect your partner to be 100%, you're going to be like deeply disappointed, like deeply, and you won't have any real like relationships, you know? That's how I feel.
No.
What do you think?
100% all the way. 100. No, I agree with you. Your clicking is distracting.
Sorry. Okay. I'm just going to tap the mouse. No more clicks. Okay. So,
so you pretty much are saying it shouldn't even have been on this list.
No, it shouldn't even be a myth. Like, I've never been advised to say that my partner should be number 1.
Nope.
And I think the only time that I ever thought that way was when I was really young. And my world consists of so few people. Like, I'm in high school or whatever, and my circle is so small with just a few people that one person seems like they're all of my world. And that gives way for like really unhealthy shit for me.
Yeah.
Not specifically, I mean, specifically for me and my experience, but, you know, I know some of my friends who their high school sweethearts end up to be the one they marry and the one they are with, and they're always with that person, and it works out. They're like stuck like glue, and it's still it seems like they are their world, you know, and they have nothing, no other world, no other life outside of their partner, and they're fine. So um I don't know, I think that's really rare, but it's totally possible because I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I probably would die in that kind of environment, because unless I find someone who actually like fulfills everything I need, which I feel like is impossible. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
hold on. Oh, gosh, I have to deal with Sukant again. All right, so do you want to read number 4 with your eye?
Sure.
Okay,
I got one eye working.
go ahead.
All right. All date nights are created equal. Plenty of research backs up the notion that couples should have date nights where they spend quality one-on-one time together. But this advice often falls to make a distinction between different types of date nights. So you might assume that anything you do with your partner will be equally beneficial for your relationship, whether that's vegging out on the couch together, going to your favorite restaurant, or going hiking. While all these dates are likely to benefit the relationship, some have a larger effect than others. In particular, engaging in new and exciting activities tend to bring couples closer together. According to self-expansion theory, passion in relationships comes in part from the ability to allow us to expand ourselves, to take on new qualities, learn new things about ourselves, and pick up new interests. New relationships help us do that, but more established relationships can do that too. If we engage in novel activities with our partner, the new and exciting activity doesn't need to be grand. It can simply be trying out a new restaurant, taking a cooking class together, or checking out a neighborhood you haven't been to before. So make the most of your date night and by trying something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally feel like this myth is a myth, because what I found out is that there are certain things I consider quality time and certain things I don't consider quality time. Like, even if we're together, you're like on the bed, or, you know, I'm on the table. I don't
Mm,
consider that as quality time. I think that's just time. That isn't really quality time. That's just
yeah,
time. If you're just sitting across the table from me and you're just eating food, like, I don't consider every single breakfast quality time, you know? I only consider quality time like if if we go out to dinner or something and we
yeah.
focus on each other, that's quality time to me. Or yeah, or if we are hiking on a really long hike and we talk about life and we talk about, you know, we discuss things together, then I consider that as quality time. I don't think you sitting next to me is quality time.
What if you do your thumb wars with me while we're sitting by each other and then you beat me? Is that quality time?
No, not to me. I don't think vegging out together is quality time. Like, if I were to
Do you
sit
think
on
what
if
about
I were to sit on a couch, maybe at the very, very beginning when we like don't hang out with each other that much, you know, like, and we're
yeah,
watching a movie together, and it's like one of the few times we're watching a movie together in a room, then I would consider that quality time. But like now watching a movie with you, I don't see that as quality time. I just see that as like time. Just time. I don't see that as like,
doing something special?
no, like it's no longer special because, you know, we've done it so often. So I think only like special or new or new things and special things are quality time to me.
Yeah.
But you say your love language is quality time. So I'm thinking, what is quality time to you? It could be totally different than me.
No, I don't know. I think quality time can be anything.
Okay, so for you, quality time is like whatever. Like you could be hanging out with me and you see that as like love. Like you see that as you
Yeah.
feel you're like this is time well spent.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we're not like doing nothing the entire day, I feel like,
What if we are doing nothing the entire day? Like I am literally like in and out of sleeping the whole day.
then that's not quality time.
Okay.
But I feel like just like cuddling and watching a movie together, even if we've done it a bunch of times, I think that could be quality time.
Hmm. Okay.
Depending on how we're acting. Like if we're just sitting across from each other, just like into the movie and not really talking at all, then I don't consider that as much. But if we're like actively involved and like talking together and thinking, and I don't know, I think it could be quality time.
Hmm. Okay. That makes sense. Like if I feel connected to you in a special way, then I'll consider that quality time.
I think it's more of a it's a situational thing. I don't think it's like always the activity. I think it's the situation.
Mm, okay. I can agree to that.
Okay.
Um, I feel like I feel like their point with make the most of your date night by trying something new. I feel like that's necessary because you could easily fall into a rut if you just do the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, that's true.
And I haven't been in any relationship where I was doing a lot of the same things over and over again, and I would feel good about the relationship. Like I don't remember a relationship where I'm doing the exact same thing every week, day in, day out with my partner and feeling like good, you know? But I don't know. Some people are like creatures of habit, and then they love doing the same thing. Um and I haven't been in a relationship like that before. But what about you?
It gets boring if you do the
Mhm.
same thing all the time.
Okay. Number 5. You want to read this one?
Sure. Many people, fighting is bad for your relationship. Number 5 myth. Many people believe that fighting is necessarily bad for your relationship, but this belief, like the belief that men and women are too differently to truly understand one another,
Too different.
huh?
Too different to truly understand one another.
Is a maladaptive relationship belief associated with lower quality relationships. In fact, fighting can be constructive when done properly. If there are problems in your relationship and you don't discuss them, those problems will go unresolved. A good relationship is not one free of conflict, but rather one where conflict is skillfully managed.
R.
R. This does not mean that you should embrace every opportunity for conflict. Sometimes you do need to let the little things go. A useful strategy in close relationships is something that researchers call a, ah, oh my god, I can't speak right now. I cannot accommodation. God damn it. Accommodation means tolerating the occasional bad behavior from your partner. Oh,
Uh-huh.
why'd you laugh at that?
Because I feel like you accommodate me a lot.
I do.
Hmm.
I do it all. I do. If your partner makes a snarky remark in anger, forgets to do a chore, or criticize you, let it go rather than respond in kind.
What's
This,
responding in kind anyway? Like, is that really kind? What does responding in kind mean?
mm, so let's read it.
Like making a remark about it or something? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess just I guess maybe asking them to, or bring it up, maybe bringing it up.
Bringing it up, yeah. Even in a nice way.
Yeah, bringing it
Okay.
up. Like
Okay. I got it.
this enables couples to avoid having useless fights. As discussed earlier, fights can be useful and productive if they involve tackling a real problem. You shouldn't just let things go when it involves an important issue in the relationship that is bothering you, but you also shouldn't turn every unpleasant behavior by your partner into a fight.
Mm.
So I agree with what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I think I think accommodating with little things is a good thing, to not let the little things get to you because they're not worth fighting over. And I think we have
Wait, you said that you agree with them? You agree that this is a myth?
no,
That
that is
you
not a
should
myth. I
fight?
agree with what they said in the that um I agree with what they said. So it is a myth, but I agree that fighting can be a good thing.
Oh,
If
okay.
Yeah, with what they said, what they explained.
But
Not
then you just said accommodation means not fighting.
Yeah, that's what they said in the
So
article.
now the article is saying that it's a myth for fighting is bad for your relationship. So
Yeah, I know. So
what they're
fighting is
saying
good
is
at sometimes.
fighting is good.
Yeah. No, I am
And
saying
then
fighting.
you're saying accommodation, which means no fighting, which means letting it
No,
go.
no, no. With the little things, like what they were explaining is you should let little things go at times and accommodate to your partner's behavior. Like if they do something small, just accommodate them, to let it go. You know, don't fight over it. It's not worth fighting for. And to pick and choose your fights, like fight about real problems in the relationships, problems that can like destroy everything, rather than like, oh, you left the or you shit on the toilet seat and I have to clean it. No, I'm just kidding. You get me?
I think you don't get what is going on because the myth is fighting is bad. And then the
Yeah, I'm saying
truth is fighting is good.
yes, I
And
know.
then you're saying that you're saying fighting is bad. So you should let go.
No, okay. Look, accommodation means tolerating the occasional bad behavior from your partner. So basically what they're saying is to accommodate rather than fight about it.
So
Do you get
you're
me?
agreeing that fighting
I
is bad.
I'm agreeing in little fights. Like, so look, tolerating occasionally bad behavior, I think that's healthy, to occasionally let it go.
Yeah, which means fighting is bad. Which means you agree with the myth.
No, I'm not agreeing with the myth.
Okay, then let's rewind everything, forget that paragraph,
I'm
and
agreeing.
then say and what
I'm
we're
a,
doing right now
what
is
a,
we're agreeing or we're disagreeing with the myth.
yeah,
So the myth is fighting is bad for your relationship. What's your opinion on that?
I agree that fighting is bad if you are picky, but I don't agree that fighting is bad when it's constructive for the relationship. And I feel like fighting will bring you closer together because you'll understand each other more.
Okay, cool.
So it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Um, for me, I believe that uh, I I actually agree with the myth. I believe in the myth. I believe fighting is bad for a relationship. I hate fighting, even if it's constructive. Like to me, I would rather not even fight at all. And I think I don't know, like any type of fight even, like I hate it. Like I really just don't like it at all.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you have issues, Just sit down calmly and talk to me. It doesn't have to be a fight.
Well,
Fight is when you're like
I think that's what
arguing
they're
with each other.
referring to. In the article, they're referring to fighting as in, sitting down and talking constructively to each other and talking in the right way.
It says fighting can be constructive when done properly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think there's a proper way to fight. Period.
I think
No.
there is.
No.
There's been times where we
Okay, but look, this is our individual opinions, right?
Yeah,
so you just expressed yours, and I'm expressing mine, and you are trying to argue why I am wrong.
Okay, fine.
So it's like you have your own opinion, and I have my own opinion, but when I express my opinion, you're like actively trying to say that I'm wrong by having my opinion.
Well, I just thought that...
What, that I'm wrong?
No, that you felt good after our fights before, so it wasn't as bad as...
What do you mean? I don't feel good with our fights.
No.
Maybe your assumptions right now by going through this article is revealing a lot of things about your assumptions of me and my assumptions of you. So that's why it's good that we have this podcast. Because you think that I feel good after our fights, but for me, after our fights, I feel very shitty. I don't feel good at all. I don't feel good about fighting. I feel like if there are disagreements and when you talk to me, like, you're like, hey, Kim, and there's no emotion. You're not like crying or blinking your eyes fast or like going, I feel like you're like calmly, like, you're like, hey, Kim, you could have said that nicer. When you said something like that, then I'm like, oh, you know what? Then I think about it. I'm like, you're right. I could have said it nicer. And then I feel bad. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like genuinely sorry. Then I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm going to put in more effort to not word it that way next time. If I feel a certain way and I'm triggered, I'm not going to like word it a certain way that is going to be harsh next time. But if you come to me and you're like, you did this and because you said this, and then you're like blinking fast and you're like breathing fast, then to me I'm like, wow, like calm the hell down. Like, to me that is not constructive at all.
Yeah, I know, but then that's what I'm saying. Those both that you...
No, that's not what you're saying.
I feel...
That's what I just said.
No, I feel like the article's saying what you just said, that both of those were...
No, those are not fighting. You're trying to impose the idea that what I'm saying is what the article is saying, and I'm saying that's not it at all. I don't believe that if someone comes to me and tell me, hey, that could have been said differently, I don't consider that a fight. And no, that is not what the article is saying at all. The article is saying that some fights can be constructive when done properly, but I don't categorize those situations as a fight. I believe fighting is like bringing in emotion, bringing in anger, bringing in stuff. And to me, having a discussion, a calm discussion, does not mean a fight. So when I finish my opinion and you're like, yeah, that's what the article is saying, I'm going to tell you again, no, that's not. Like, that's not what the article is saying at all, because that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that in a discussion, when you're calm, it's not a fight. And I truly believe that.
Okay.
So that's my opinion on number 5.
Okay.
Okay. You finally let me have my opinion. You're like, but yeah, that's what the article is saying all along. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Jonathan? Like, you have your opinion and I let you have it. And then I have my opinion. And you're like, but this is what the article is saying. I'm like, no, not at all. Anyways, I felt like you weren't letting me have my opinion. And I don't know why. I have no idea. But number 5, I think that's it for the day. There's only 5.
Yep.
The author is this girl named Gwendolyn Seidman. She's a PhD. She has her own website and she has a Twitter profile. Oh wow. She's pretty bright. Oh my god. This post is how to deal. She wrote another post. How to deal with reminders of your ex. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, well, I'm not gonna go read this article, but like, I don't know. For me, I really can't. I really have to accept a lot of reminders of my ex because I live in a small town, and a lot of my mutual friends know my ex, like a lot. And my ex lives like 2 minutes away from me, so I have to like fully accept all the reminders of my ex. I can't like get it out of my life. Yeah. Yeah, my ex and I have over maybe like 50 mutual friends or something. It's ridiculous. But he introduced me to a lot of those friends, probably like 25. And then the rest I met just randomly because they're in the climbing community, but they also know my ex. So I don't know. Kyle, I met Kyle through my ex. And now Kyle's my friend. Kyle is my ex's friend first. And then Kyle is still my friend after the breakup. So
cool.
See what other articles she wrote. What do you think of? I know what you think. I already know you don't have a lot of mutual friends with your ex, huh?
No.
Oh, why not? I mean, doesn't she like take you to her friends? Or she has no friends?
No, she had friends. I don't really talk to them.
But like,
I was cool with them. I just don't talk to them anymore.
because they don't do stuff you do? What if they were all gamers and they like play the game you play?
No, I don't play. I don't play with them anymore.
Oh.
Like I told you, my ex's family. I don't play games with them anymore, and they all play games.
Oh, they do. They play your game, or that game that you watch.
Well, they played games with me in the past, a bunch of games.
But do they play the game that you actively play now?
I don't know. I don't ask them what they play anymore.
Oh, well, I think family is a little bit different. If it's like a bunch of their family, like if it's my brother and my brother still interacts with my ex, I would feel like that's fucking weird as shit. But if it was like a mutual friend, I don't think that's weird.
I didn't say it was weird. Did I?
Yeah, you said it in a negative way. Like you're like, I don't do this, you know.
Well, I didn't mean it in a negative way. I just said I don't do it.
Oh, okay. All right, then I misinterpreted that. But I feel like I have no choice. So I really don't have a choice. A lot of the people that I meet, even in the future, like I'm gonna meet my friend's girlfriend probably on Tuesday, and yeah, she knows my ex. Have I ever met her before? Never in my life. How many friends we have mutually? 18. And so yeah, it's just the way it is. Oh, actually, I think she went on several climbing trips with my ex too, like one-on-one as well. So they might be close friends. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I remember. And we never met face to face. But now we are going to, and the world will merge. Oh, man, it's such a small world. Why is the world so small? I don't know. The world is so tiny, especially with the climbing community. Hmm. Well, I appreciate the fact that you don't give me any like feelings of like negative energy when it comes to like mutual friends and something in the closet fell. Like mutual friends and stuff like that. Like you don't give me any negative energy about that. About like my ex's presence is still like looming with mutual friends. But it's not weird between my ex and I anymore because I saw him a few times at the gym and I just said, hey, I don't want it to be awkward. And yeah, and it isn't. So I feel like even if I'm surrounded by reminders of my ex, and I've kind of succumbed to it. They're kind of like just that is life until I move somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah.
Jonathan, I only see like the top of your head. Did you do that intentionally?
No. I just have it
what
like.
Happened to your face?
It's on my belly.
Oh, you can't like lower the laptop thing like this?
Yeah.
You so tired. How's your work day?
Good.
Is it long?
Not long. It went by pretty quick. So that's good. I had stuff to do, so. Boom. Done. Yep. How about you?
It was not that long, but I did a lot of stuff. So I felt like I had a long day, but didn't feel like, oh, that was a long, tiring day. It was like, wow, that was an exciting day. I did a lot of shit. I talked to a lot of people today.
That's good.
And I feel as if I finally have something that I'm okay with knocking on doors about, you know?
Really passionate about.
Yeah, like I'm okay with telling someone about it, and if they're like, well, that's a piece of shit, like if they're like, well, I'm not gonna be on board with that because that sucks or something, then in my head I'm still like, that person doesn't know what they're talking about, you know? It's a good feeling. Versus like if someone's like, oh, that's a piece of shit, and you're like, oh, is it? Like you're not, like you don't have any conviction, you're just being swayed with the wind, you know? And I feel like with my past stuff, like super fast listings maybe, and I felt like if someone was like, hey, you should do this, or like, oh, well, I don't know about that. Well, actually, they never said that, but my mind would be like, easily swayed, you know?
Easily swayed.
Pretty much. Or like I would binge on Forensic Files or something like that, you know? Like there's if I'm like that, then really I am aimless. Like I really don't have this core thing that I'm fighting for if I allow my body to do that to myself. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe that if I'm like a slug and I see that reality as more pleasurable, as better than the real world, which is like away from all the media, like your actual living world, then all you're doing is just you're numbing your senses and you're shutting off because that fake world is so much better than the real world. And when the real world has more substance and has more drive and actually has like a deeper meaning to it, then you're pulled, like I feel like I'm like pulled back into reality from a world of like haze. Like I just day in, day out, just Netflix, Amazon Prime, just living in this haze. And like, anyways, I feel like, when you're in a haze, you look at other people and you're like, oh wow, how did they do so much? Like you wonder, like, where did they get the energy to do so much? But that's because you live in a haze. Like, you can't understand what it's like to be out of the haze. But when you're out of the haze, because you feel that pull, then you understand a lot better, like, oh, that's why they did so much, because reality to them is much better than the dreams. It's much better than being numb. Much, much better. But when I was sad, the escape felt much better than reality. Or when I'm overwhelmed or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, my goal, at least, is to keep reality much better than the numbness. Is to keep this real world experience of changing people's lives, or helping to change people's lives, or even walking towards that path of influencing and affecting and making a difference in the world. That is what will keep me like in reality, and not like go home from work or go home and be like, oh man, I need to escape, or even not go home, just stay there and be like, oh, I need an escape, like I need drugs, I need to sit in front of my phone and watch Forensic Files for hours and hours. Like, that's genuinely what I felt like I needed. I needed to escape and to numb myself, because reality wasn't that great. But yeah, that's how I felt.
I know how you felt. I remember the Forensic File binge, the infinite amount of episodes that will never ever catch up.
I watched stuff twice.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would remember if you're sleeping half the time you're watching.
Oh, I don't know. My brain still registers it, and then I kind of like midway through the episode, I'm like, oh, I watched this already, and then I can remember the rest. But okay, well, we don't need to stretch this longer than what it is. So, all right, you guys. As always, this is how we get through life. Oh my god. This has been the Getting Through Life podcast with Kim and
Jonathan.
And we wish you farewell until the next episode. Let's do something like iconic, or like the same thing. Let's cover our cam, and that's when I end it. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bam. Where do I press it? Okay.